Hey, good morning, GVA. Mr. Ruley here with another awesome author interview today. And today we have author of The Latte Rebellion. We have Sarah Jamila Stevenson here. Sarah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Hey, it's always having a great day when we get to talk about books, huh?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So I have just a few questions for you because I know our students here want to know more about the writing process, and any opportunity to talk to a real life author is really a fantastic opportunity to take. So, really, to start out, we have a lot of illustrators here at GVA and students who love graphic novels. And you wrote a graphic novel entitled Alexis versus Summer Vacation. So I wanted to ask you about that. What is your process for writing a graphic novel?
Well, so this was the first time I had worked on one, and I had been eager to do this for quite a while because I've always enjoyed comics and cartoons, and for quite a while growing up, I wanted to be a cartoonist. I discovered that, working on this, so I did the writing of the story, and an artist worked on the pictures, which is pretty common arrangement if the artist and the author are not the same person. And so what I did was I basically wrote a script that's a lot like a TV or a play script, but there's a special format for comics. And so for each page, you kind of write out what's happening in each panel with a little bit of description and what the dialogue is. And once that's all put together and written, and the story is complete, then that I sent that to my editors at the publisher, and then that went over to the artist who had already been sort of working on the characters and what they might look like. And so she kind of brought them to life ultimately. So it really was there was a little bit of a partnership collaboration going on there, which was really fun for me. But I do hope in the future to get to write and illustrate my own as well.
Oh, that's great. Hey, I've heard before there are some authors who've written books and then, like a movie will take it and then the characters end up not being what the author had in their mind. So when it came to that partnership of what you wrote and what your partner drew there, did that match up with what was in your head, or were there ever any like disagreements on how your characters were drawn?
I wouldn't say disagreements, but that's an interesting question because I actually, me being who I am, I drew out pictures of each character the way I kind of envisioned them initially, just in case the artist was interested in what was going through my mind, and to give her a better idea, just a general idea of how I pictured things in general. So once her version of the characters kind of came back, and there was a bit of back and forth, I think. I was it was interesting because they both were and weren't like they were in my head.
Yeah.
And it was a little getting used to, but now I look at it and I feel like I can't really picture it any other way. So I think that ultimately, something new came out of it that was a little bit of both of us.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Hey, next question. Looking at the plot of Alexis versus Summer Vacation and some of the rich characters you have in there, what is Alexis versus Summer Vacation about? What could our readers expect to see in there?
Yeah, so that the story is really kind of an exploration of all the various issues and obstacles that are pretty typical for a student kind of just entering high school. It takes place in the summer between eighth grade and ninth grade when Alexis, the main character, is just about to start a new school. She isn't sure how many people she's going to actually know at the school. And over the summer, she's stuck with this situation of having to babysit her younger siblings for free. So her mom sets her up with a community pool pass. While she's at the pool, she ends up kind of meeting up with some new friends who are also going to be going to the same school as her. And so what you end up seeing is her kind of learning who she is in relation to these new people. Each one of them has kind of their own little obstacles to face. Like, Alexis is trying to figure out what it means that she has a crush on another girl in her class. And one of her new friends is struggling with a bully. And then one is a guy whose older brother seems to kind of have it all and be Mr. Perfect. And so he's struggling with what his own identity is in relation to that. And so they really are kind of developing each of these components of who they are and trying to figure that out, and learn to be comfortable with that.
Oh, wow. Hey, yeah, growing up is not easy. One of these days, maybe I'll figure it out. But it's,
Yeah. If you do, let me know.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But hey, these are all things that we go through when we grow up. So, I mean, seeing it sometimes in a book form there can just help you kind of think through your own thoughts too, I believe.
I think so too. I mean, I feel like there's a connection when I'm reading. Um, if I really relate to something that the author has written, I feel like they see me and understand me. And as I'm writing, I kind of feel that connection in both both directions really happening as someone who wants to write stories so that the people reading them can kind of also feel this sense of connection, and I feel like I have done my job well.
Oh man, that is a great sentiment right there. You need to keep writing. Excellent.
I
All right. Well, looking at the next question here. Okay, general question here about when you had your first book published, and then you started seeing that the first wave of your books was actually selling to the public. Can you describe the feeling you had when you saw that people were buying your books?
it was kind of surreal. Um, I nowadays there's a lot of different ways to be published and to get your books out there. And I was published in a pretty traditional way through a small but you know relatively established publisher. So it felt like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say a dream come true because it's not like I really pictured. It's not like it was anything like I would have pictured it happening. But just to see it and hold it in my hands and realize this is a thing that I made, and it has become real. And with the help of all of these other people who put all kinds of other work into it, now I can, other people will be reading it. I mean, and that kind of makes it real. People who are reading it who you have no idea who they are. It's not just my friends or my family or my writing group or something like that. It's, out there in the world. So that's kind of an amazing way to feel that I've kind of birthed this project, and it's floating around out there.
When you say that, I think of the word accomplishment. I mean, that feeling of accomplishment is so great, isn't it? Would accomplishment kind of describe that a little bit?
It definitely is, yeah. I mean, and there's a great thing actually, I think, about the creative process and about writing is that there are kind of different stages of feeling that sense of accomplishment. So, while it can be a long process and parts of it can be very discouraging, at the same time, even just measuring those small accomplishments, like I finished the first draft, it's just like that's a big one. I finished rewriting it. That's another big one. I mean, every step of the way, you have kind of an opportunity to sort of take stock of where you are and feel a little bit of pride in how much work that you've done up to that point.
Oh, that's fantastic. Excellent. All right. So I want to kind of transition a little bit in theme to the Latte Rebellion, which really, when I read through the synopsis and everything, seems like it is a book about acceptance. And acceptance is a GVA caring habit here. Well, what could we learn about accepting others from your book, The Latte Rebellion?
Well, so I really wrote that because at the time that it was published, especially, there's not a ton of books that feature characters who are of mixed race or mixed heritage. And I grew up that way as someone of kind of mixed cultural heritage. So did some of my friends, and many of the people obviously now who I know now. And so the idea just of making it visible, the idea that there are not just people of multiple cultures all around us, but that there are people who, in and of themselves, have multiple cultures to offer and to contend with. And so I felt like one way of sort of promoting an acceptance and understanding of that is to get the story, written, and at the same time, while it is about culture and about understanding and about larger issues like social justice, at the same time, I wanted to write a book that was fun and that had characters getting into ridiculous trouble and silly situations, and where the idea of race wasn't necessarily always right at the forefront. And so there was also a bit of that too. That the idea that, while that's one component of our identity, that's just one. It's not necessarily the sum total of who we are as a person.
Oh, I really like how you said that. It also seems like maybe having more casual conversations with each other about our differences and who we are and where we've come from, and maybe that's something that we can really work on to build acceptance with each other.
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. All right. Well, what advice would you have for young writers?
I think probably my two top pieces of advice would be have a lot of patience with yourself. Actually, it's three. Have a lot of patience with yourself. Be humble and willing to learn, and don't give up. Keep at it, and be persistent.
That's a great list right there. Patience, be humble, don't give up. That's fantastic advice. Well, what a great segue to our hot seat high five questions. Are you ready for these?
Sure.
All right. This is more of a fun series of questions here. And so we're going to start out. What is the correct number of cats we should all have as friends?
As friends, all of them.
Every single one.
In your house, different question.
Yeah, being allergic to cats, the thought of being friends with all of them slightly scares me, but I'll give you a point for that one. Good job. Way to start out. All right, next question. You're going to have 10 seconds to list as many fun things to do in summer as you can. On your mark, get set, go.
Swimming, rafting, eating, reading, sitting around, sleeping, video games, watching TV.
And time.
Okay.
That's a pretty darn good list right there. I know, like the day 3 in January, I'm like longing for summer here, so just wishful thinking.
Oh, well. Summer can't come soon enough for me either.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, so again, look at your biography. I understand you speak Welsh.
Yes.
Why and how did you learn this language?
Why is a little more complicated, but I've always really enjoyed learning languages. I just am a weird person who thinks that's fun. And as a kid, we had actually traveled to the UK and traveled around England and Wales. And, Wales is just a really beautiful place. It's a lot like Ireland. It's very green and has a lot of castles. And the language is really interesting. I looked at it and it was just like, wow, this is this really ancient looking thing. And, if I ever get a chance someday, maybe it would be cool to learn it. And that kind of was in my head for a number of years. And then when I got to college, as an undergraduate at UC Berkeley, they actually offered Welsh classes. So I thought, well, if I ever have time, I'm going to take one or two. And so my senior year came along, that opportunity presented itself. And it kind of, I really enjoyed it. And it kind of went from there. It's kind of just been a hobby ever since then.
I'm going to give you 1.5 points for that answer. That was pretty fantastic right there. And what I heard in that whole thing was you just have a love of learning. Do I have that right?
Yeah, that is very true.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. If you were an actor in a movie, would it primarily be a comedy or a drama?
I would like it to be a comedy, but it would probably be a drama.
Correct answer. Nicely done. And last one here for today. What is one thing we should do every day to promote kindness?
Oh, one thing every day to promote kindness. Gosh. Step back and check yourself, I think, in a moment when you are about to open your mouth and say something that, is off the cuff. I don't know. That's not I don't know if I like that answer.
Well, what I heard from that is before you speak, think about it and make sure it's kind and helpful. Would that be correct?
I think that's it. Yes, I like that.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to give you a point for that. Sarah, you know what? We sure enjoyed meeting with you today. You seem like a lot of fun. Your books seem absolutely fascinating. I think everyone should be reading them. We appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Ms. Fiona Frew over there and wave hello.
Excellent. Well, Fiona's a lot of fun herself, so fantastic. All right, Sarah, thank you so much. You take good care.
All right, thank you. And I really appreciated getting to talk to you and talk to your students.
All right, bye-bye now.
All right.